Good morning, everybody. We are on the road today. As you can tell, we are not at home. We're not in my office. We are down in the great city of Austin, Texas. And I assure you, your coffee this morning was better than mine. So without further ado, let's do this. Good morning. What the hell am I doing in Austin? Well, this is what I'm doing in Austin. I am working my ass off to try to make sure that Colin Allred is the next senator from the state of Texas. And I want to ask a favor this morning. I do. You folks are always gracious and kind and support the show and help me out so that I can do this full time. You pay for this travel, and I am grateful. You allow me to do things beyond what I would normally be able to do, and I am grateful. But not today. I'm going to ask you to not do that today. There's a link down in the description. If you want to donate today, go ahead and donate to Colin Allred. His Act Blue link is down in the description. Let's do what we can to make sure he gets elected. He's a good man. He's a good man. A little bit about Colin Allred. I'm sure you're aware he played for the Tennessee Titans. He was a professional football player. It's not where his career started, but he ended up a professional football player for the Tennessee Titans. Played for them for 4 years. He graduated from Baylor with a history degree. I love that. Passed his prologue. If you want to elect somebody that is capable of understanding dynamic situations, that's capable of understanding complex situations, elect somebody with a history degree because they've studied it all before. They've seen it all before. Passed his prologue. I love the fact that his undergrad degree is a history degree. After graduating from Baylor, he went on to play, like I said, for the Tennessee Titans. After his football career, he went back to law school and worked his butt off and got his JD from UC Berkeley. Good school. Not easy. Good school. His wife is an accomplished attorney as well. A very successful family all around. Let me tell you one of the reasons I love that he is a football player and why I think that's an asset. A lot of people are going to write that off. They're just, celebrities. No. Let me tell you something. I am a football junkie for a reason, and it's not just for the fact that a big play on Sunday. It is not for just the cheerleaders or whatever. No, I look at football like I look at politics. I'm looking at things that are going on that most people don't see. For one, just to even become an NFL football player, it is actually easier to become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company than it is to make the starting roster of an NFL team. It is statistically easier to become the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. It just is. It is literally the best of the best, and not just the most talented. There are plenty of people that have talent that can't cut it on NFL teams. They just can't. They just don't make it as starters. They just don't, because it takes more than talent. These guys, they get what's the equivalent of intelligence briefings. Okay, they watch tape. You've heard of people watching tape. Watching tape. What is watching tape? Well, each individual player, each individual unit, part of a team, studies different aspects of the opposing teams that they're going to play. They know who they're going to line up against. They watch them. They know, do they windmill? Do they get gassed? You know, do they have good butt pop? And trust me, butt pop has nothing to do with what you think it does. It is nothing to do with a bad case of beans. It is like when you've got an offensive lineman, can he get off his hands and get into a forward moving position? That's called butt pop. Now you know. They watch their opponents. They study them closely. Then they take that information out onto the field, and then they practice, and they drill, and they drill, and they drill, and they get their egos wrecked, absolutely wrecked out on that field. They have coaches that will just absolutely tell them right then and there, right there on the spot, you just got owned. If you do that on Sunday or Thursday or Monday, whenever this game is coming up, if you do that, you just got owned. They're going to wreck you. And they work, and they work over and over. They run plays and run plays and run plays and run plays until they are ready. And when they see something happen on the field on game day, they're not trying to figure out a plan. They're not reacting. They're instinctively going at it. They're doing what they've trained to do. And folks, in this day and age with the Russians and Putin and everybody else, that is exactly the characteristic I want in our Democratic politicians. I want somebody that understands the hard work. I want somebody that understands pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do. And believe me, Colin Allred has taken this off the football field. He took it to law school. He graduated from UC Berkeley, folks. That is not easy. That is not – Berkeley is a good school. And then he went to work for the federal government. He went to work for Joaquin Castro. Worked in the Obama administration. Then he went into private practice, was successful in private practice. And then he decided to run for office. And when he decided to run for office – do you people know who Pete Sessions is? Do you people outside Texas know who Pete Sessions is? Here in Texas, Pete Sessions is really this is Pete Sessions. This is Pete Sessions. Pete Sessions was a longtime incumbent, and he's a Republican that had quite a bit of power. He was not a nobody. And that's who Colin Allred went after. And he beat him. He knocked Pete Sessions right out of Congress. And he's about to do the same thing to Ted Cruz. And I'm telling you, that's why I like the guy. He knows how to win. He's gone up against people in the Republican Party that are not weak. And he's won. He's a winner. So I'm down here with other folks similar to myself. We're going to get together. After we get done with the show, I got to pack all this up. We're going to head into town, get together for some meetings, strategize, get everything, some framework set up, and then we are going to get to work. We're going to do everything we can to get Colin Allred put in the Senate because he is who we need. We need Ted Cruz gone. But yeah, that's what I'm doing down here in Austin. That's why this setup. And I hope the audio is okay. There's a big glass mirror in front of me. That's why I keep not looking at the camera, because I'm looking at myself staring right back at me. And I hope I'm not getting too bad of an echo. But we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can. You got to keep working. Well, folks, we have had some big news break that has not been really talked about in the media yet. The Inspector General has issued his report on an investigation. You'll remember this from the 2020 election. You remember hearing about Trump ballots that were thrown in the garbage. Do you remember hearing about that on social media? You remember hearing about all that nonsense? Well, there was a lot of misinformation around that. A lot of misinformation about it. It happened up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, in Lucerne County. And what happened after they did the investigation was they found out that, yes, there were some ballots actually thrown away. Were they all Trump ballots? No. Some of them weren't even open. So when Bill Barr took this information to Trump, and then Trump ran with it and said they're throwing away Trump ballots, that was a lie. Some of them weren't even open. But this guy has not been charged with election fraud, because there was no election fraud in this crime. You've got to have intent for there to be a crime. I should say, I call it a crime. Shouldn't even call it a crime. After they did the investigation, what they found out is that the guy that did this, and when they asked him, did you do this? He's like, yes, I did this. I did. I threw bad ballots away. And they're like, there was nothing bad about these ballots. He's like, I'm sorry. I thought they were bad ballots. Which, if it was you or me, would sound like a pretty bullshit story. But for this gentleman, it was the absolute truth. And here's why. See, the guy that did this had a severe brain injury. And this isn't an excuse. He admitted he did it. The office that he worked in immediately called the police and reported that this happened. Everyone was as open as they could be about this. No one has denied any of it. Where the malfeasance comes into place is with the DOJ and Bill Barr. And it has caused irreparable damage to our election systems. See, this guy that did this had been in a car accident. And he was disabled. He had a severe brain injury. He legitimately thought that he was doing the right thing. He just should have never been in that job. And he ended up getting the job because he was part of a program to help people with disabilities find work, even temporary work. So he was hired as a temp. And that's really it, folks. That's the whole story. Somebody with a debilitating brain injury screwed up. No one was committing fraud. No one was picking on Trump. There wasn't a large number of ballots. This wasn't something that should have threatened the integrity of our electoral system. It was caught. It was acted on. That should have been the end of it. The guy was fired. He will no longer ever work in any election anywhere again. The folks that ran that department in Lucerne County did the absolute right thing. They were completely open. They showed everything that was going on. So where did it go so wrong? It was 9 total ballots. 9. And some of them weren't even opened. They were not all Trump ballots. Where it went wrong is the DOJ has a long-standing policy. You know, we talked about this with the Robert Hur report and how he just took license to put a bunch of stuff in the report that should have never been in the report. There are guidelines for the DOJ to follow. One of them is the DOJ does not comment on investigations if they are not charging. They just don't. That's a rule for a reason. It is again, let me just say that is a rule for a reason. They don't just invent these rules. You know, the Republicans hate regulation and they hate rules and they never follow them. Folks, we don't just go around willy-nilly inventing rules for the hell of it or regulations for the hell of it. Oh, let's just make things harder. No, something happens that says, make somebody say, okay, this is bad and we need a rule about this. Well, the DOJ has a rule. You don't comment on investigations if you're not charging. You just don't. Because the DOJ is not in a screw up your reputation business. They're not supposed to be in the politics business. But what did Bill Barr do? He took this information to Donald Trump. Now, right about now, it's important to, I appreciate the support. I really do. I hope you're giving to Colin. I hope you folks are supporting Colin Allred. I really do. Thank you for support, though. I'm grateful. I am grateful. Okay. It's important, an important caveat is that Bill Barr did not cooperate with this investigation. He completely stonewalled the IG. He would not sit down for an interview. He would not answer questions. The only responses they got out of Bill Barr were via letters sent through his attorney. He did not in any way cooperate with this investigation. So when Bill Barr says, well, I told Trump, which is against the rules, but I told him not to say anything. I told him not to say anything. Really, dude? Really? You really thought that Donald Trump was just going to keep this to himself? No. Donald Trump did exactly what Bill Barr expected him to do. What he gave him this information to do was he ran to the first interview we could get and said, they're throwing Trump ballots away. They're cheating. It's all rigged. I told you it was rigged. It's all set up. They're just throwing thousands of Trump ballots away. He said that crap. I've seen pictures of my ballots in the trash. And that, folks, went insane. It went insane. You know, we've talked before about MAGA. We've talked before about the lies and how the best lies have just a little kernel of truth. Yes, some Trump ballots ended up in the trash. They were caught. The guy admitted what he did. It was all completely open. It was not intended to be an attack on Trump. And nothing. There were sealed ballots that the guy couldn't even have known who the votes were for. This was not voter fraud against Trump. It's just a guy that had a traumatic brain injury screwing up, thinking he did the right. The guy really thought he did the right thing. He did. So anyways, this blows up. This goes nuts all over the internet, and all kinds of conspiracy theories just go crazy. I would invite you, go to X and do this search. Trump ballots thrown in trash. This exploded into a million conspiracy theories with people just making crap up. And the Russian bots got on it. The Russian bots went nuts. See this comment, this guy, Jason Edwards here, he's arguing with a bot. Let me show you. All right. He was saying there were no ballots in that dumpster. The Republican sheriff of Spalding County. This was one of the fake stories that's just metastasized all over the country. Everybody was finding Trump ballots that were thrown away, and they were not. Everybody turned into an election expert all of a sudden, and they were not. In this case, he's arguing with a bot over one of the conspiracy theories. One of the bots, the Russian bots that has been removed from X. You'll notice the original comments. This poster has been suspended from X. The Russians were all over this, folks, passing out information as much as they could. But you had people also saying shit that wasn't true. Like this woman claims her husband found all of these ballots. These are not ballots, folks. These are not ballots. That is not what you're looking at here. These are empty envelopes where the ballots were removed from the envelopes and the ballots were processed and they threw the empty envelopes away. But if you go to the comments section, everybody's now an election expert. That's illegal. The ballots have to stay with the envelope has to stay with the ballots. This and no, folks. Everybody handles this differently. That is just not true. But MAGA needed it to be true. They needed it to be true. They just did. They needed it to be true. And this is one of the biggest ones that blew up all over the place. There's a couple of more I'm going to show you. This is one of the biggest ones right here, this video.
We were taking the trash out, and congratulations, Elliot. And I don't ever post about political stuff, but if you know me, you know I'm a huge Trump supporter, and I wanted to show you guys what we found in the trash can at St. Anne's, which is a polling place.
At my wedding.
So
now in the state of Oklahoma, it doesn't matter because we're all red.
Yeah.
However,
so we wanted to show you what we found.
So
we can't make this up at all.
We have
you can make
Donald
this up,
Trump.
you did just make it up.
Donald Trump,
and there's more ballots in this trash can.
Inside that trash. But we will say we did find one Biden poll or one Biden ticket in there, which it of course got mixed up, and we were taking the trash.
No, none of that is true. None of what you just saw is true. They did not find ballots in the trash. They didn't. What they found were spoiled ballots in the trash. And they don't know, they're not elections experts. They're stupid people. They're Trump supporters who want a conspiracy theory. Folks, in places where you vote, if you notice, those were ballots that you actually mark. Now, I vote electronically. You don't get spoiled ballots where I vote because it makes you review each one of your choices, and you can't double vote. If you try to double vote, if you accidentally try to vote for Trump and for Biden, any race you accidentally tried to vote for two candidates in the same race, it wouldn't allow you. But if you're just filling in bubbles like those ballots are, and some places still do that, you get what are called spoiled ballots. And what that is you take your ballot, and when you go to turn it in, they say, oh no, this is no good because you have two in the same race. You can't do that. You get one vote. Here's another ballot. Go fill it out again. This becomes a spoiled ballot. And what they typically do is, as you saw, they were ripped in half. They ripped them in half, and they throw them in a bag and hold on to them. And when the election's over, they take that bag and they throw it in the trash. That person got another ballot. That person got to vote. What those people just showed you were confirmed to be, by law enforcement, to be spoiled ballots. But that went massively viral because Bill Barr decided to comment on a DOJ investigation and tell one candidate information that candidate distorted and lied about, and then his Russian allies amplified. And of course, MAGA, it's the same thing we talked about when we talked about Kamala Harris on the last show. Folks, MAGA isn't sitting there thinking, you know, that Kamala Harris, she's got a great resume. Maybe I need to listen to what she's got to say. No, they're breathlessly waiting for someone to tell them a lie that fits their emotions and fits their feelings. That is exactly what Donald Trump did. That is exactly what the Russian bots did. And now you have millions of Americans not only going online and posting misinformation, just crap that's not true, but millions of Americans that do not believe in our electoral process unless they win. And that is why we have regulations. That is why we have DOJ policies. But Republicans do not care. They politicize every job they are in. They do not have integrity. Bill Barr did this on purpose. He did not cooperate with the investigation. And it goes beyond that. It is worse. It is worse. And it's all been debunked. But you've heard the old saying, a lie travels around the world before the truth gets its pants on. Well, the truth doesn't really fit the MAGA narrative, so they don't want to hear it. And it doesn't matter that every one of these things that they put up, video shows spoiled ballots, not discarded Trump votes. It doesn't matter that the police looked at it. It doesn't matter that the press looked at it. It doesn't matter that election authorities looked at it and all of them debunked it. No, they want to believe that they're not losers, that it was rigged. No, you're a loser. You're a loser. You're a loser because you support a loser. Period. And folks, the worst ones were the ones that had the kernels of truth to them. This really happened. They really caught a postman throwing away requested mail-in ballots. Now, that's important. It's important that you follow what really happened. You had a mailman that threw away ballots that were requested by people, not filled out ballots, not votes for somebody. These were ballots going to somebody, because ballots that were picked up, the work's already done there. See, this postman, again, was not trying to commit election fraud. He was pulling a mailman. Anybody remember Melman from Seinfeld? And you found out that Melman never really delivered the mail. He just had tons and tons of mail stacked up in his apartment. That's what this mailman was doing. And out of 2,000 pieces of mail that they recovered, 99 were requested ballots. Newman, yeah, Melman. I said Melman. Newman, thank you. Out of 2,000 pieces of mail, 99 of them were requested ballots. Do you think they disclosed that in their conspiracy theory? That this wasn't somebody that was targeting ballots, it was just mail in general? Of course not. Of course not. They did not say that when they put their conspiracy theory out there. And they also did not happen to mention that in this one case that had the kernel of truth to it, that it was a mailman that actually did not deliver requested mail-in ballots, that it was to an overwhelmingly Democratic suburb that this happened. this was not going to be Trump votes. But no, the conspiracy theory was, oh, we caught him red-handed. We caught him red-handed. We caught a New Jersey mailman throwing them Trump votes away. No, he threw away 2,000 pieces of mail, and only 100 of them happened to be ballots. They weren't ballots that were picked up. They were just mail that was requested. It was stuff that was going to the houses. That's where the work is, folks. That's how you know this wasn't voter fraud. If it was voter fraud, it would have been ballots coming in. And that way the work had already been collected. The work would have already been done. This was, he had to go out and he had to deliver this stuff and do the work. And that's the part that he was objecting to. So that even that was not voter fraud. It was mail fraud. I mean, yeah, the guy got sentenced and went to jail for it. Good. You're not lazy bastard. But this just exploded everywhere. And it exploded everywhere because Christopher Wray was the head of the FBI and Bill Barr was the head of the DOJ. And this is what they do. And I got to tell you, Bill Barr might be gone, but Christopher Wray and his prosecutors are not. And I got to issue a warning for you. This happened the other day, and I want to tell you, this is bait. Donald Trump was shot. He was grazed in the ear by a bullet. Period. I've already made fun of the whole, it was a teleprompter thing. The teleprompters were completely intact. It was not a piece of a teleprompter. It was a bullet that grazed his ear, and I will prove it to you here in just a moment. And I got a lot of people saying misinformation that don't know what they're talking about. But Christopher Wray came out and said this, and this is bait. And I'll explain why in just a second.
I think with respect to former President Trump, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us. I think with respect to former President.
Do not fall for this. Folks, this has completely fallen apart. No. You can go find pictures of the teleprompter in perfect condition. They have close-ups. The teleprompter was not damaged. It was not pieces of the teleprompter. Again, he was turned away from the teleprompters. It would have to have done a boomerang and hit him in the head. No, there are actual photos. There are actual photos. Let me skip to it since people are jumping to it. This is a little bit bloody. I'm sorry, but it is a close-up of his ear. You can see where his ear was nicked by a bullet. They have a photograph. Guy by the name of David Mills, a professional photographer. He's one of the pool photographers, has a photograph that will be part of the history books. You can see where the bullet nicked the front of his ear, nicked the back of his ear. And they can prove it's a bullet. And this is why I'm telling you, Christopher Wray is a political animal, and that was bait. And I'm going to explain why in just a minute. They have the bullet caught midair. They have the bullet caught midair. You can see when a bullet travels through the air, it rips a hole in the air, basically. And you can see that. You can visually see that. They have a photograph of the bullet as it passes his head. He was shot. Period. End of story. Why would they do this? Folks, I'm going to say it one more time. One more time. That was bait. Christopher Wray is not a good guy. Christopher Wray is a Republican before anything. He needs to be removed as the head of the FBI. Hell, all the damn Republicans need to be removed from the FBI, but I keep getting in trouble when I say that. I am telling you, people, 100% this is bait. Why? Why? Folks, what did they try to do the second it happened? They shot Trump. Who's they? You and me. We're they. Uh-oh, that didn't pan out. The kid is a Republican. He's a 2A bro. His daddy's a super 2A bro. They're so 2A bro that the kid's dad testified he saw the kid come home, grab an AR-15 and leave and didn't question it. He just thought he was going to the range with it. They do it all the time. They're a couple 2A bros. So they can't blame you. They didn't do it. We did it, is what they have to say. He was a Republican. He was a 2A bro. He was one of us. Well, he must have been targeting Trump. 2A means Second Amendment for Cynthia. 2A means Second Amendment. Well, he must have been targeting Trump, right? Nope. That died in the investigation too. Turns out the guy's just a little psychopath. He was researching mass shootings. And he was doing searches for all kinds of events. It just happened. That was the event that was close. That's the only intersection, is when he wanted to pull off a mass shooting. He researched online over and over again, mass shooters. That was his intent, to cause a mass shooting. He's deranged and sick. Again, they can't pin that on you. That is their worst nightmare. That falls right into our argument. That falls right into our argument. You people, with your rhetoric, your 2A Second Amendment, 2A bro rhetoric, are inspiring shooters to do horrific things. Everything about this gets worse and worse for Republicans. So what do? They throw you some bait. They tell you what you want to hear. Because you really want to hear that. You do. Admit it. Admit it to yourself. Admit it to yourself. When I first heard it, I was really excited. Then I had to do some checking. Whoa, wait a minute. That's not true. Because that's the end of the election. If Donald Trump went to the hospital, was treated for a little shrapnel in his ear, then turned around and came out and made public statements that he was shot, that's it. Election over. Done. There's no recovering from that at all. That lie buries Trump. Except it's not a lie. He was shot. But if you come out and you accuse him of lying, well, he's the victim again. And you did that to him. And that's what they're trying to do. Look, here's here's Ronnie Jackson. Here's Ronnie Jackson. They're already fighting a fight with nobody. They're already framing themselves as the victim. Don't take the bait. Don't let them turn you into the bad guy that says Trump wasn't shot, because then that lets them fight with you. You're not a bad guy in this in any way, shape, or form. They are. They caused this. They created another monster. Their own policies created another monster. So what do they have left? Rope-a-dope you into saying something that's not true and making Trump a victim again.
If it wasn't a bullet wound, I ask you, what was it, right? Piece of glass? Where'd the glass come from? I've been told the teleprompters are completely intact. So what, just mysteriously a piece of glass just appeared out of nowhere? If it wasn't a bullet wound, I ask you, what was it, right? Piece of glass? Where'd the glass come from? I've been told.
They're already fighting that fight. All they need, folks, is for you to take the bait and go out on your social media and say he wasn't shot. Then the whole narrative changes. We're not talking about the fact that it was a Republican anymore. We're not talking about the fact that it's their stupid, idiotic gun policies that created another dangerous situation, almost got their cult leader killed. They're not talking about that. They're talking about, you said he wasn't shot when he was clearly shot. You can see the bullet track. And then there's people that don't shoot. There are people that don't hunt. Let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you how this works. I have shot things before. I have. Too many people watch Hollywood and they think they know things, and they don't. They don't. The entry wound of a bullet is usually the same diameter as the bullet, or smaller. The bullet will pass through, stretching the tissue. It's the exit wound that can be larger. It's the exit wound that can be larger. And the reason that happens, and I'm going to get a little graphic here, is when the bullet enters, it's spiraling. It's traveling perfectly straight. It's not wobbling. It's not anything. It's like you've seen a football thrown with a spiral on it. It just, and it doesn't wobble. It doesn't anything. When the bullet hits something, then it will wobble. It will mushroom out, or it will hit bone and create more fragments. That's why the exit wounds can be much larger than the entrance wound. Well, what happens if the bullet doesn't hit anything hard? Then it doesn't shatter. Then it doesn't mushroom. If it grazes something, it doesn't mushroom. It doesn't wobble around. And that's exactly what happened with his ear. It just nicked him. And I get people that have never shot anything in their lives, never killed anything in their lives, telling me, oh, if it had grazed his ear, it would have ripped his ear off. No, folks, it would not. Look, let me tell you, I hunt, okay? I do. I hunt. I like venison. I do. When I shoot a deer right here. Not in the heart. I shoot it right here. But one, because I can. At 200 yards, I make a pattern that big. I have an extremely good deer rifle. I have extremely expensive, accurate ammunition. I know the ballistics of that ammunition perfectly. And every time I shoot a deer, the reason I shoot it there is because I'm not cruel. If you shoot a deer in the neck right here, it causes extreme pressure, and the deer goes unconscious immediately. Immediately. They don't even know they've been shot. They don't know. And then they bleed to death unconscious. The exit wound isn't really any larger than the entry wound because I don't hit bone. I don't. And I'm shooting these things with a much larger bullet that carries much more power than what grazed that little 5.56. It is not. Please stop telling me about things that you don't know about. If it just grazes something, it doesn't transfer the energy into that thing. It'll just be a nick. That's it. Don't fall for this. Don't fall for this. Do not let them make you the target. Don't let them take the focus off of the fact that they created this little monster. This is their baby. This is them. Don't take Christopher Wray's bait because he knows better. I guarantee you the FBI looked at those photos. They talked to the doctor. The doctors wrote it up as a bullet wound. This was bait. This was another Bill Barr moment where he is absolutely trying to help Trump. Because all Trump has left on this is to make you say something mean to him. And then his people are defending him again. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't fall for the conspiracies. Look, I get people arguing with me. I'll look it up for you so that you can see it right now. Let me find it. There are all kinds of fake images. And there are real images out there you can find that are out there where they actually have the actual teleprompter close up, clear. You can see that it has not been damaged in any way, shape, or form. Forgive me for taking the time here. I didn't think people were going to argue. I thought you'd take my word for it, but everybody keeps wanting to play a video. I had a still image earlier when I should have went with it. I will find it. You argued, I'll find it. There you go. There's the close-up. There's a distorted image where they try to make it look like this upper right corner is damaged. It is not damaged. It is not damaged. Period. That's a conspiracy theory. They're trying to bait you into the conversation they want to have. That teleprompter is not damaged. Stop it. Stop it. One of their monsters shot their cult leader. This is not us. Do not let them drag you in there. There's a reason the head of the FBI came out there and dropped that bait in the middle of that hearing, knowing damn well it is not true. There's a reason he did that. He is a political bastard. Christopher Wray is a political bastard. He is. They've lost this argument. Do not engage. Exactly. Do not engage. They've lost this. They accused it of us. They said it was us. It was not us. It's proven it is not us. It was them. It was a Republican. So please, just let it go. We've got a great candidate with tremendous energy. Folks, This is what I want to end with. We have a great candidate with tremendous energy. No distractions. Don't fall for their bait. She just had another Zoom call. 100, they were doing it with different voting segments. First, they had black women, and 50,000 black women showed up for a Zoom call, and everybody had their mind blown. And they had like 80,000 black men in a Zoom call show up. Folks, they just had a Zoom call for white women supporting Kamala Harris. 150,000 women showed up for that Zoom call. The donations they were making broke the app. It literally crashed the app. They were making so many donations so fast, they crashed the app. We've got tremendous energy going forward. Never let them drag you into their bullshit. Keep rolling. Keep moving. Keep moving. Keep moving. And folks, it's really getting them. If the trolls are showing up here, it's really getting them. It's under their skin. They know they're in trouble. If they're not in trouble, they don't bother. We are not going back. We are not going back. We are 100% ahead. The polls are in our favor. We got this. We win. We win. Trump is a 34-time convicted felon. They don't have the coalition that they started with in the last election, much less moving forward. You have an entire segment, 10 to 15% of Republicans, that will not vote for Donald Trump because he's a piece of crap. He's a liar. He's an adjudicated rapist. He's a failure. His last presidency was a complete and utter failure. I'm just having fun with the trolls right now. I really am. I'm loving that they have to sit and listen to this. All right, folks, your time, 100% round table. We haven't had one in a while. Anything you want to talk about, throw it out there. Show the trolls a good time. Talk about Von Schitzenpants' old age. How the fact that he keeps glitching out. Oregon dude, you in the chat. Why don't you go have another boat parade? That helped you last time. You're so screwed, dude. I love it. I love it. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Best community anywhere on the internet. I love you guys. I really do. Oh, God. You want to stir it up, huh? Cowboys versus the Texans. Well, look, I'm like most people in the state of Texas. I love both teams, but I have one that I love a little bit more than the other. I always have loved the Texans. They are my first choice. And this year with C.J. Stroud, the receiving core they have, the reconstituted front line, it's going to be really exciting to watch. It's going to be really exciting to watch. But hey, you know, if the Cowboys are playing, I'm like, hey, go Cowboys. What do I think about the Detroit Lions? I love them now. Not so much when Matthew Stafford was their quarterback. I love them now. Rangers for the versus the Astros. Not a baseball fan. Just not a baseball fan. Yeah, I still send them material. I do. I love guys over at Midas Touch. They're great guys. Matter of fact, I just sent them two a couple days ago, but they were over other topics, and then we had big news break, and so they just couldn't use them. Should Biden pardon Hunter? Yes. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Without question. Look, folks, the Republicans, Biden's stepping down. All of a sudden, there's no more hearings on the impeachment. They're done. It was always politics. It was never real. It was always crap. It was always crap. The Hunter Biden stuff was always crap. That was a political prosecution that should have never happened. And I love the fact, I don't know if you seen his last court filing, but he pretty much will verbatim lifts what Eileen Cannon said in her dismissal of Jack Smith's case. She basically lifts her dismissal and puts it in her motion to allow that judge to contradict Eileen Cannon. I just loved it. It's going fantastic. It is going fantastic. I got to say, did you see Laura Trump in that last interview they did when they were asking about the money that Kamala Harris has been raising? I've been watching too many damn Trump videos this morning, trying to figure out which ones I wanted to use. Turned out I didn't want to use any of them. But yeah, Kamala Harris has been raising incredible amounts of money. And I was watching Laura Trump, and she said, well, it's just the billionaires doing it. Oh, no. It's over 900,000 small donors. 900,000 small donors have been responsible for the massive amounts of donations that they're taking in. Not only do they have the advantage in the ground game that they already had in place, because, and I'll say it again, it was absolute brilliance. It was absolute political brilliance the way they handled this. They did it before we had a nominee. Kamala Harris was on the ticket. Absolutely. That was the one thing that I kept saying, why the hell are you trying to get Joe off the ticket, people, when he's got a cash advantage, the polls are in his favor, and he's got an infrastructure advantage. He's built an entire infrastructure. The Trumps have nothing. Laura Trump is a failure. They have no offices. They have no ground game. Kamala Harris inherited all of that, inherited the cash advantage, and then turns around, boom. What is she, like $150 million in under a week? Good God. Yeah, things are going good. Things are going great. And what's even better is the masks are coming off. God, I hope they don't shut up. They had to send a memo around that says quit being racist. The masks just came up. Look at the number of people that insulted Kamala Harris because she's black, because she's Asian, just dismissed her incredible resume because they're bigots. And you just run that in a loop. You run that tape in a loop. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I mean, right now, I mean, can you tell me anything that's going wrong for us at all? Please, if there is, let me know, because it's not on my radar and it needs to be. Yes, the new polling out has Colin Allred ahead over Ted Cruz. Well, folks, it's now officially after 11. We're going to have to call this roundtable. Done. I appreciate you guys. That's what I have for you today. I have work I've got to do this afternoon. I got meetings I've got to get to. I've got to pack all this up. Love you folks. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for supporting the show anyways. I hope y'all use that link down there and show Colin Allred some love. That's his Act Blue link. I appreciate you folks. This is Old Texas Paul out. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.